This is Janet Carruthers. We're going to be talking today about something that all of us as business owners, really need to hear about, not only for ourselves, but us as human beings, our families, our communities. And so today we have Dr. Pat. So Dr. Pat, tell us a little bit about you and who you are, and so we can find out more about you.
Okay. Well, you want me to go back to when I was born?
No,
Short- the-
no. The short version, the short version.
Okay. So I've been a practice chiropractor for a little over 30 plus years now. And I also practice physical therapy, do a little bit of orthopedic and neuro science work in the office. So it's a really exciting practice. I get to see families, business owners, and treat a lot more than just, neck and back pain things. So, and I have two wonderful kids. They're married. I have a grandbaby now, so I'm a grandpa. So life is good.
So, what is the number one problem in the US today that's really affecting like communities and affecting families and just us as humans, which, quite honestly, it's going to result in whether our businesses and small businesses are going to succeed?
Janet, it's crazy. It's called distractions. I mean, and I'm sure everybody's gonna, well, that's Captain Obvious. We are so distracted today. I mean, it's unbelievable. It happens every single day. So I have a patient come into my treatment room. They're sitting down on the table. We're talking, and I do my little assessment, whatever, and I say, okay, go ahead and lay face down for me. I mean, it seems like a pretty simple, straightforward command, right? Go ahead and lay face down. You would be surprised. More than 50% of the patients will lay face up. So I let them do it, and I make a little funny about it. I'm like, okay, so go ahead and lay face down now. And they're like, oh, people are so distracted. It's crazy. So we're falling apart, and you can only imagine how that's going to affect the individual, how it affects families if we're so distracted. Moms, dads, kids, they're giving out, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And people are forgetting, they're distracted. You go into work, and now, the boss is saying this and that, and people are so distracted that it literally is. We're living in this science fiction movie right now, but it's really happening.
It's interesting that you say that, because as business owners too, if you have employees that are distracted and they make a mistake, in construction, in transportation, that could really affect a business owner, their insurance, their liability. And so, I mean, or a distracted salesperson sells something that's a really undercut because they didn't listen that the sale was over from the previous week. So I can see how there can be so many issues with a distracted society. But why are we so distracted? Hey,
Do you want,
hey, there you go. I saw your face.
want
No,
me
no, let it go. No,
to?
I mean, this is perfect. Perfect timing. Yeah, see, I saw your eyes too shift, and I mean, it's like on cue.
Like, like that's crazy. So yeah, I'm so distracted right now. When you were talking about that, it reminded me. I do some mission work in India, and about 6 years ago, I was there, and one of the organizers was telling me about a situation that just took place in their village. This little 9-year-old boy had a tumor behind his right eye, which was causing his right eye to go blind. But it was a malignant tumor, so they needed to remove it, and they were going to have to remove the eye. Well, the surgeon was distracted and removed the left eye by
Oh,
mistake.
no.
So just, and then all of a sudden realized after the operation was like, that was the good eye. So can you you're so right. I mean, salespeople, but families, but look at the life and death problems that could occur in the medical world, that if you're not focused and you're not able to concentrate and follow through and limit these distractions, it could be life and death. And this poor little boy who was going to have a tumor removed from his eye, and he would be still able to see out his left eye. They removed the good eye, and then they had to go back and remove this tumor, or else the kid was going to die. So now this little child was permanently blind for the rest of his life, and that's just whew.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's so why are we so distracted?
Mm. That's the billion-dollar question. And, not that I have all the answers, but one of the things that I study the neurosciences, and it's turned from a hobby actually into one of the biggest things I do in my practice. Neuroscience people today state that we have more stress events in a 2-day period than our ancestors did 100 years ago. It would take them their entire lifetime to have the amount of stress events that we have in 2 days.
Mm.
So they're saying that it's unsustainable. The brain just can't keep up with that. It just can't. And, some of your audience right now, business owners, are saying, well, I don't feel stressed. We're talking about two different parts of the brain. We all know that we have a conscious brain and a subconscious brain. The conscious brain, you could be right now, people are they're paying attention to us, they're listening to us. That's the conscious brain. But while they're consciously listening, their other subconscious brain is telling their heart to beat, digest food, fight a bacteria in this region, grow some tissue here. It's that brain is running 24/7. So if your conscious brain isn't feeling stressed, that's great. But conscious, we go in and out of conscious, and I think Einstein said something that we're conscious probably about 5% of the day. So 95% we're just kind of running on autopilot, which is that subconscious brain. We don't want the subconscious brain to get stressed, and that's what we're talking about. So little things that interfere with that are cell phone notifications. And that's why when I come into work every day, I put my cell phone on my desk and I leave it alone. Because when I'm with patients, by accident, it's in my pocket, I'm talking to a patient, and all of a sudden I feel the buzz in my pocket. All my attention goes from answering my patient's question to what's that in my pocket? It's buzzing. Okay, I wonder who that is. Could be one of my kids. What if something's wrong with my grandkid? I wonder if it's the bank. I wonder if and so the brain's doing all this crazy stuff. So you're getting email notifications, text notifications. Everything today is so fast. We're sitting underneath artificial lighting, which this artificial lighting right now, our brains don't like it. It's a flicker that the brain's kind of like, but we get used to it. We just kind of push it out. But all day long, we're experiencing that. If you turn the news on, you're hearing like 20 awful things today, or the conversation at the water cooler. You're hearing, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Whatever. It's just, we're inundated with so much our distractions and interruptions that the brain can't keep up with it. So the brain has to start shutting things down to conserve energy to run body parts. So all the essential things that are non-essential things need to go away. So it's not super essential to have memory. So we're having more Alzheimer's and dementia and forgetfulness. People are walking into a room and they're saying, why did I come in here? And so we're all having these things. And I used to be able to remember my phone number. Now I don't remember my phone number. Right? I mean, it's just because the brain has to say, well, that's really not important right now. I've got to tell my heart to beat. I've got to digest food. I've got, this injury that needs to be taken care of. So the brain's starting to cut all these things out. And so we're thinking they're normal, and it's not normal.
Yeah. So, I can understand that, because I can tell you that even when I start my day, I have like a to-do list, and there are certain times of the day that I have to turn off my email in order to get focused on what I'm doing because I can get distracted so easily. And I think that it almost sometimes I've talked to other friends that say it almost feel I think I have Alzheimer's. And maybe it's not like Alzheimer's or, you have a family history. Maybe it's just that there's just so much information coming in at one time in a distracted society. And so what's the answer? I mean, what can we do? I mean, it's not going to stop. Our phones are, going to be constantly buzzing. Even in this interview, your phone is, coming off, and it's constant and bombardment, and we feel like we have to go ahead and answer every email. Something might be important, and it's kind of scary that that we do have so much stress in a 48-hour time frame compared to what our ancestors had. So what's the solution?
Yeah. So trying to figure that out. But and one of my favorite quotes, and you said it's one of yours too, Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that just goes to the heart of what the brain, the brain is dealing with. The neuroscience people today are saying that thoughts, just a thought, is 1,000 times more powerful than actual chemicals and substances. So just pause on that just for a second. We're talking about, say, morphine, for instance. If you inject somebody with morphine, it's a chemical. It has a response of the nervous system. It causes numbness. But a thought is 1,000 times stronger than morphine. And how I explain this, make it very simple, is the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So that's why, you have a dream at nighttime. So for instance, a bear chasing you in a dream, your brain doesn't know that that's not real. So you're having this dream, and then you wake up. And when you wake up, you're breathing heavy, you're sweating, your hands are clammy, your respiration's up, your heart's pounding. All those things go subconscious. They're just rolling. So you've got stress. Your brain thought there was a real bear in the room, but there wasn't. So your body and your nervous system is going to respond to something that's real or imagined the same way. So thoughts, whether they're real or imagined, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this person hates me, or I wonder if the check's going to clear, and if that doesn't clear, then all of a sudden my mortgage isn't going to get paid, and then I'm not going to be able to pay for the kids' braces, and my husband's going to be so mad at me, and all this stress takes place, and none of that was even real. Or if it is real, it doesn't matter. Your body is responding to that. So, and I could go through the neurophysiology of all of it, but we could spend hours on this. But when you're under stress, your heart starts to race. So you get an increased blood pressure. So if you know anybody who's on a high blood pressure medication, so those things take place. Cholesterol goes up, sometimes up to 400% higher.
Wow.
So anybody's on cholesterol drugs, we should be saying, instead of just, hey, take this pill, should be saying, how are you doing? Are you okay? Maybe take a few deep breaths. Can talk to me, tell me what's going on. Because if we can help with the stress, maybe we can start seeing the neurophysiology change. And so is that we've all heard the placebo effect, right? I mean, you know what a placebo is. Okay, so just for the audience, that a placebo today in the pharmaceutical world, they're the ones who adopted placebo into the science of putting a new drug on the market. You get a new drug and you test it against a sugar pill. The sugar pill is the placebo, and the patient doesn't know which one they're taking. Nor does the doctor know which one they're taking. So it's called a double-blind placebo-controlled study. And the new drug needs to perform better than the sugar pill. So we're going, well, what is the placebo? It's basically a thought. The person thought they were taking this amazing new drug and it was going to lower their cholesterol, and they believed it, and their cholesterol lowered. It's a real thing. And so this came out of World War II. There was actually a medic who was he was out on the battlefields, and when people would well, soldiers would have a life-threatening wound where he had to do an amputation right there on the field, or else the person would bleed out. He was tasked with this, and he would go up to them and he would shoot them with a bunch of morphine so they wouldn't feel anything. He would amputate the limb, sew them up, and they would helicopter him out. Well, then he ran out of morphine, and he was radioing everywhere. There was no morphine, and they weren't going to get morphine for weeks. And here he is. He's got soldiers laying in front of him. He's got to amputate, or else they're going to die. So in his head, he filled his syringe up with salt water, saline, and he would get down on his knees and he would grab that soldier's hand and he would say, "Soldier, you look at me, because I'm going to inject you with this morphine, and within seconds you're not going to feel anything. Soldier, look at me. You're not going to feel anything." He said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." He said, "I'm injecting it right now. You're not feeling anything." And then he would amputate the soldier, and he did this for lots and lots of soldiers, and he was blown away. They didn't feel anything. And so when he got back to the US, he wrote this all up, and in 1955 he published some research showing that something was going on in the brain that was more powerful than morphine. And this is how placebo got birthed. So thoughts are so powerful. And so how does this translate into businesses? If people are so distracted and their thoughts are running crazy, they're believing certain things all day long, that like Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So
So something like, I'm going to fail in this business. My whole family has always failed in business. My mom said I'm going to fail. You've set that tone of thought, kind of like the grape juice, kind of like, the morphine, that you've created your future is what I'm hearing you say. And that's so true, because but on the other hand, if you say that, okay, you know what? I am going to be successful. I can see myself that I'm going to grow this business. I'm going to be able to employ more people in my community. I'm going to be able to get the right people to connect with. True story, I actually have a client who she basically went from about 50,000 to 2 million in about 6 months.
wow.
And I said, wow, this is fantastic. Of course, I was really happy because I helped her get her certification. And she said, I always knew that I was going to get this. And
Yeah.
even when, I didn't know how I was going to pay the bills, how I was going to be able to find the money for equipment, I just kept on, having these thoughts, and, when the negativity would come in, and she's actually jumped to 4 million now, and that's been 2 years. But she was so positive that, she would not allow that thought process. And she said, I shouldn't even be here. I'm a single mom. I've always struggled. I've had to pay everything my way. I was, getting state support. And so I could have taken a different path and think, well, I'm going to be a failure. I'm going to always need help. But I changed that thought process. So I agree with you that the thought process of how you think, even in business, is absolutely so important. Um, so, and I think that, stopping that negative thought is also really important, and the distraction part of it. Do you have something that we can take away today, like to help us with, it's kind of like anxiety, right? You have a distractive thought because you've got phones ringing, everything, and then you it almost kind of makes you feel like a failure because you can't focus, and you can't, you know, you can't be a jack of all trades. In business, when you're a small business, you're the IT person. I joke around about that, but you're the IT person, you're the salesperson, you're doing the job, you're cleaning the bathrooms. It doesn't matter. You're doing everything. But
Right.
it's so easy to get discouraged rather than encouraged with these different distracted things because you can't focus on one thing. So, do you have something where, we can, I mean, like, what's the answer for this stuff?
Stop for a second. One of the things I think I try to do every morning is to just get started on the right foot. And that is, everybody has a choice. When you get up in the morning and you turn the alarm clock off, your brain is going. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep good last night. It would be so nice to just stay in bed right now. It's like, oh, I was gonna get up and exercise, but if I do, maybe I'm gonna wear myself out. Like, it's endless. I thought I was gonna start the diet program, but you know what? I'll do it tomorrow. We all have those. It's like, stop. So what I try to do is put my feet on the ground, clap, and say, it's a great day. And it's simple. Just one little thing you can do. Okay. Everybody can do that. You just go, okay, just stop. Stop. It's too noisy. Just clap together. It's a great day. And you do that for like the next 30 days, and you're gonna realize, wow, you're gonna meet your kids in the kitchen, and you might have a smile on your face instead of, oh, and they're the same thing, and they're gonna go, how come you're in such a good mood, Dad, or Mom? It's just that little thing, just one little thing. Try to do that. Everybody can do it, and it will start to build. And then the other thing you can do all day long, and I do this all day long, is breathe. Here's how you can do it. And we all know that taking a deep breath changes neurophysiology. When a little kid is panicking, you can sit them down and just go, okay, just breathe. So we instinctively know breathing does something. So instead of taking a breath from up here, because this is when we get stressed and we're ready to fight. You don't do that. Take a breath from your belly. So don't breathe from up here. And I have to really train patients, because I say, okay, take a deep breath. And they go, okay, don't do that. Don't breathe up here. Breathe from your belly. So, and you feel your hands, put your hands on your belly, and you feel your hands push away, and practice that. Take a big breath in. And this is a little simple thing you can do. Take a breath in that takes about 2 to 3 seconds, but feel your hands push out, not up here. And then hold the breath for about 3 seconds. And then try to breathe the breath out for about 6 seconds, and do that 3 times. So breathe in for about 2 to 3 seconds.
You're going to show us how to do this?
Well, I don't know how I could do that on the camera, but you
put your hands on your belly, right? So that you know that your air is going out. So your stomach should, when you're breathing in, should your stomach come in or should it go out?
It should go out.
Okay.
So you're pushing it out like you would, a guy who's got a beer belly.
Okay.
Or a pregnant woman. So you're pushing your belly out when you're breathing in. So try to breathe in, not like take it 2 or 3 seconds,
Okay.
And have your hands expand out.
Okay.
And hold it for about 3 seconds.
Okay.
And then breathe it out for about 6 seconds. And if you can breathe out longer, go ahead and breathe out longer. Sometimes I'll breathe in for 3 seconds, hold it for 3 seconds, and it'll take me 9 to 12 seconds to breathe it all the way out. And what you're doing in that aspect, well, do it 3 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And just assess yourself. You will, after doing those 3 breaths that way, if you're at a stoplight or you're in your office and you just got to shut the door for a second, or you're getting ready to have an argument with your spouse or your kids, just go to the bathroom, do 3 breaths. And all of a sudden you start to think a little clearer, because what you did was you came out of fight or flight and you went into your parasympathetic nervous system. And now that's where your creative, problem solving, memory, all your sexual function, digestion, all these amazing things This is where your immune system works best. So we have the ability to control our brains instead of letting our brains control us. So you can start to say, if I think I can, or if I think I can't, I'm right. So if I think I can, you're working with that creative, miraculous, amazing part of the brain, and you're controlling it just through breathing. So very simple thing. Wake up in the morning, it's a great day. And then, during the day, you feel yourself getting a little tense, or even practice on a preventative basis. You're in the shower in the morning, do like 3 of those breaths and just get your brain started the day. Like, you know what? You're not controlling me. I'm going to control my brain today. And then just practice those things. Do it for 30 days. And, you will report back that there's a big change in how you're handling life. And like you said, we're not going to make the cell phones go away. We're not going to make the bad news go away. We're ruminating in more stress than ever. But what we can do is we can control our brains so that we can adapt to the stress, so we can make ourselves healthier.
It's like taking a breathing break from whatever that is going on, whether it is an anxious thought, or it is the phone's ringing off the hook, or doing something that you really don't want to do, like doing a bank reconciliation, or knowing, that you're going to have a tough conversation with a client or an employee. So I think that is a huge golden nugget of being able already to set the tone. Like, this is going to be a great day, right when it kind of just like, okay, I guess we better, your brain is saying, okay, I guess we better follow through, because they said this is
Right.
going to be a great day. So we're going to
So
do this,
let it happen.
we better listen to the boss. And then the second part is a great tool that we can all use, whether even if it's not a small business owner, and we could teach it to our children, grandkids, or whatever, and say, okay, and it's always a good thing when you can actually kind of step away from that situation, whatever that situation might be, just to get a moment. So this is like a great golden nugget for, humans as a result, to take a step away from things. Well, I really thank you, Dr. Pat, for joining me today. This is so important for everybody, not just small businesses, but for health. Um, and I think that if all of us can do our own part, um, it actually kind of makes sense that we are able to help communities as well, because, if we can learn some of this technique of stepping away, not being distracted, it also allows us to be able to share that with our families, share it with our communities, and it has a bigger impact if we can just look to ourselves and watch our own distracted thoughts as well. So we're not on autopilot of stress and phone and driving, like, oh my gosh, how did I even get here? I didn't even know I was going this way, because we have so many different thoughts that are going through. So thank you so much for taking the time. That I always love that story about the World War II guy. It's like, oh my gosh, is that where it came from? So I really appreciate you coming today, and you're a small business owner as well. And so you can totally understand some of the challenges that all of us small businesses have as well. So thank you very much for taking your time and teaching us this really awesome technique, so we can walk into a room and like, oh my gosh, what did I come in here for? And we can take a moment and go, okay, I'm going to do my breathing techniques and take a moment and then, proceed. So
Yep.
yeah, well, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna stop.